Technical College, and so we provide continuing education courses to the general public as well as provide customized training for businesses. And so we really work to make sure that our courses reflect what's needed here in our area. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it on to Michael.
Hey, thank you very much, Janie. Am I coming over loud and clear?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, very good. Hey, everybody, I'm glad you could be here. My name is Michael Kaplan. I'm the Director of Operations for Phase 2 Advantage. We are a cybersecurity training and consulting solutions company based in Savannah, Georgia. We've partnered with Savannah Tech to create both custom courses and existing cyber certification courses. So I thought I'd start this out. I'm not going to kill people with PowerPoint. I'm a minimalist on that, and I figured I could give a high-level view of everything and then just leave it to the end and be able to answer any questions, and there might be a few questions. So about our company really quickly, we were founded in 2014. We do cybersecurity certification courses, customized training programs, consulting services. We provide a cyber range as a service, which is something kind of unique as far as an immersion learning model system. And we also do instructional design, and we are a registered publishing company with the US ISBN agency. So we're able to publish all of our own training materials. Our motto, if you will, is empowering people to maximize the potential of systems. We think this is hugely important. As people get focused on technology and IT and cyber, people tend to get lost in the equation, and we really do believe that people are the most important part of that. So everything we do is actually focused around that initiative. We have a training philosophy that I think underlies that. It's really simple. If a student enjoys the training experience, scores well on an exam, walks away with an earned credential, they love their instructor, they love the course, they love the food, but you can't apply what you learned during these certification courses the day you get back to work, the attendees have wasted their time and their employer's money. That guides every single thing that we do in a classroom. We're not trying to bridge theory with reality. We're trying to incorporate theory with the reality that we actually teach. One of the ways that we do this, and this is going to apply to all the courses, so we're going to talk about individual courses, but the Project Aries cyber platform by Circadence is one of the most sophisticated cyber range, cyber training programs literally that exists on the planet outside of DoD Cyber Command, and we have been very fortunate to be able to have a strategic partnership. Our students get skills inside of this environment that they would not be able to get anywhere else outside of cyber range at the DoD level. We are now starting to incorporate this into every single course that we train where it is appropriate to actually do so. It's a very in-depth program, comprehensive, so I can't spend too much time on it, but this is part of our immersion learning model. We want attendees to be doing, not just sitting there and listening. All of the courses that we develop are based around the NICE cybersecurity framework, the National Initiative for Cybersecurity Education. It's a collaborative effort between the government, academia, and private business and industry. It's been ongoing since 1994. To try to develop a common lexicon, to try to develop a common set of skills that are required for each job and understanding so everybody is speaking the same language. So when somebody comes to a course, it doesn't matter if they're coming from government, it doesn't matter if they're coming from business or academia, what they learn is going to apply in all of those environments. In short, the high view of this is the cybersecurity framework is actually built on 7 higher level categories: analyze, collect and operate, investigate, operate and maintain, oversee and govern, protect and defend, securely provision. Underneath those 7, we have 23 specialty areas. We have 52 job roles and over 2,000 KSAs, knowledge, skills, abilities, and tasks. So being aligned with this nice cybersecurity framework ensures that anybody walking out of certification is going to be aligned with all three of those verticals, government, academia, and corporate. And they're going to be able to speak the same language, and we know what the requirements are. We can tailor these courses to actually serve the NICE framework. So that's the high-level overview that applies to all the different classes. We're going to be starting with 4 cybersecurity certification courses at Savannah Tech. And I'm going to do a quick run-through of the 4 classes and then take any questions that anybody has. We have numerous other courses under development that we do privately. We'll be incorporating them eventually into the Savannah Tech program. But we decided to start with these 4 because they are the most popular, they're the most relevant, and they're the most in demand. The first is the Certified Cyber Incident Response Manager course. As you can see, this is going to be about incident response. Our course structures are, for the most part, the same. They're 5 days, 40 hours. They consist of 16 domains with 6 subdomains for a total of 96 learning objectives. In this particular course, we have 24 hours of lecture, 10 hours of lab. Our certification exam at the end of the course is 2 hours. It is proctored. Upon successful completion of the exam, the certification will be issued. In the unlikely event people do not pass the exam, they're still going to get their 40-hour CPE certificate, so they are going to have something to go back. When people register for this course, everything is included. The hard copy materials, the online access, the instruction, the labs. If we happen to be in a classroom, that's also going to include lunch. Right now, of course, because of COVID, we're doing everything online. But everything is actually included. I'm throwing up pictures. We have 4 texts that are actually associated with every class. I haven't shown the other 2 for each, but we have our course workbook and lab exercises, and we have an exam prep guide to help the student prep for the test, and it's basically a recap of the lecture portion of the certification course. There is also a corresponding lecture textbook and a corresponding lab textbook for every course we teach. I have not listed those. So you're going to walk away with 4 big books, probably 1,600 pages of material. The textbooks are for later use. They're for desk reference. You're not going to need them for the class. The exam prep guide and the course workbook are what we use inside the class. So for those of you not looking forward to reading 1,600 pages in 5 days, don't worry, you're not going to have to actually do that. What we focus on with the CIRM course is incident response, malware triage, proper way to respond to an incident, identify an incident, how to do remediation, how to do eradication, how to do posturing procedures to be able to set up before the eradication to make sure that you're setting up defensive networks so bad guys and malicious actors cannot undo all the hard work that you've been doing. A lot of investigative skills. In this particular course, the lab component is Wireshark. We have 10 labs in Wireshark that we feel are 10 fundamental skills that everybody needs to know, from photo reconstruction to packet analysis to, there's 10 labs. Wireshark is what we do. We teach the students how to build a virtual machine if they don't know how to do it, how to load up Kali Linux, and then we run off of Kali Linux, we run Wireshark to do all of our labs. The reason we do that is when students and attendees leave the classroom, we want them to continue with their skills and developing their skills. So by having this on their own computers and having the corresponding lab textbooks and everything else, the training does not stop when you leave the 5-day class. It actually continues. That is the model that we use for every single course that we built. And we also encourage attendees of these courses to be in touch with us because we want to remain a continuous resource as you go forward. At no cost, of course. We typically connect on LinkedIn or what have you. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. and we're always available to people who've attended the courses to help them out, or sometimes we'll actually seek them out for help. The CCRM, the Incident Response, as every course, maps to the framework work roles. Some of the top are going to be exploitation analyst, threat warning analyst, cyber defense incident responder, cyber crime investigator, information system security manager, vulnerability assessment analyst. The reason these work role titles are important is in the academic and corporate and government spheres, these are the titles that they're actually using for the jobs they're hiring for. That's the whole purpose of the NICE framework. So if you know what work roles these certifications align to, you will know what jobs are actually out there that align with the training. And that is going to be consistent for every single course that we're going to talk about. The next course we're going to talk about is the Cybersecurity Operations Manager course. This is not a beginner course. Typically, we require 24 months of on-the-job experience, knowledge of TCP, IP protocols, networking. This is a highly intensive course, equivalent to the CISSP. You really want to have a background in networking before you walk into this. In this course, we cover 16 individual domains. They are not related and progressive like the other courses. And unlike the other courses, there's no lab exercise in this. This is actually true learning. We cover identification, access, and management. We cover NICE framework. We cover biometrics. We cover encryption and cryptography. We cover cloud. We cover cloud security. Anything that is going to be relevant to anybody in a cybersecurity management position, they're going to touch all of these areas because they need to be familiar with all of these different subject matter areas. It's not going to make them a subject matter expert in these areas, but they're going to be able to have a solid working knowledge of the 16 domains that they're going to run across. For example, network architecture for non-architects. You can actually sit down to with an enterprise architect and have an intelligent conversation. You're never going to be the enterprise architect if you're not, but you're still going to be able to communicate effectively, and that's what the security management course is actually all about. Like the other courses, it is 5 days, it is 40 hours, the exam is 2 hours, once again, same structure for all the courses. The mapping to the NICE framework, executive cyber leadership, information system security manager, cyber workforce developer and manager, cyber ops planner, cyber intel planner, and for those of you who like being in front of people, cyber instructor. Once again, those are actual job titles that are listed in all three of the verticals, and these are the different jobs that this certification actually speaks to. I might also take a moment to say, for those that might be in the military or government, DoD, federal contractors, the former 8570, now 8140 Department of Defense Directive, these courses also map to different aspects of GIAC, which is the Global Information Assurance Certification that all DoD and military personnel need to have. And they're starting to enforce this now on even contractors and subcontractors of prime contractors. So eventually, this is all actually going to become a requirement if you're doing any type of work with the federal government in any capacity. The next course, and one of the most interesting courses, and actually most relevant courses to what we're doing now, is the Certified Disaster Response and Recovery Manager. This is an outstanding course. Once again, 5 days, 40 hours, 16 domains, 96 objectives, 24 hours lecture, 10 hours of lab. The labs in this case are actually done in groups where students and attendees have to work through a business impact analysis on a particular company, identify faults, identify areas of improvement. They have to identify areas of risk. They have to rate the risk. And it culminates with a 2-hour presentation to executive leadership, which are actually going to be the instructors that are in the class. We always have 2 instructors. And we're there working with attendees throughout the entire lab process. We don't turn people out on their own. But the goal of this course is to teach cyber people, security-minded people, how to align what they're saying with business processes to get more buy-in from the C-suite, because there's a lack of communication there, a breakdown in communication. A lot of times the powers that be don't even understand what it is that we're asking for. Some of the domains that we cover in here are risk management frameworks, business impact analysis, disaster response plans, business continuity plans, and we dedicate a decent portion of this, and have for the last 2 years, to pandemics and epidemics, which once again makes it really relevant in current times. As with all the other courses, there is a lecture textbook, there is a lab textbook, and then of course our course workbook and our exam prep guide that the students receive in advance of taking this course. We try to get these hard copy materials, by the way, to any attendee of these courses 30 days prior to the course, to make sure they have time to dive into the content and be able to access their online environment. Those who are taking the online courses here through Savannah Tech, we're working with Blackboard, and we're putting a number of resources up there, the syllabus, additional resources, useful links, the different NIST publications, other publications from CDC and whatever it might be. And those are yours. You keep them. You download them. They're all yours. And we certainly hope that you keep using these as a resource as you go forward. This and the Security Operations Manager class are actually the first 2 that we're going to be offering here at Savannah Tech. Once again, mapping to the NICE framework, because people want to be able to secure employment when they get these certifications. Cybersecurity management, threat warning analysts, cyber operational planning, knowledge management, strategic planning and policy, and security control assessor are the workforce work roles that map directly to this course. This course is actually split into 2 parts. The first part is going to be what you would expect from business continuity and disaster response, the first half of the course, first 8 domains. The second 8 domains, however, things are changing. The people are moving their servers off premises, and everybody now is sort of shifting over to a cloud or hybrid cloud. So the second half of our class is going to be dealing with cloud service providers, cloud security, the risks associated, the benefits associated, even learning how to negotiate and review. If you're not negotiating, you may be asked to review as a cybersecurity manager a cloud service provider contract. So you need to know how to go in and how to look at these legal structures and agreements and be able to spot glaring errors and so on and so forth. So this is really a comprehensive course split in 2 parts, traditional and then cloud. If you're interested in cloud or cloud security, cloud capability, this is actually a pretty comprehensive course just from that standpoint as well. And then finally, the last course we're going to be offering, which is one of my personal favorites, is our Certified Network Forensic Analysis Manager course. Unlike digital forensics, network forensics happens in a dynamic environment. It's not what we call dead box. You're walking into a live environment, an incident is happening. This is a counterpart to incident response. You will almost never have a network forensics mission without an incident response mission. So to reflect that, we have elements of incident response, once again, built into this network forensics because it's entirely relevant. once you conduct a network forensic mission in a live environment, in a network, and you gather your images and data and everything you need and bring them back to your lab, now you're dealing with digital forensics again. So network forensics is a lot higher paced, higher speed, a lot of different considerations and a lot of different rules than what you would see in a CSI lab if you're dealing with imaging a hard drive. As with the rest, actually, it's 5 days, 40 hours. I made a minor mistake. It's not 16 domains, it's 12. There are 72 objectives, but it's 24 hours of lecture, 10 hours of lab, and as with everything else, 2-hour certification exam, the actual hard copy certification, CPE, with the hard copy material shipped out, once again, to include a course textbook and a lab textbook that are not being presented on the slides. This is a very, very high-speed course. We do recommend in our prerequisites that folks have some working knowledge of network and some working knowledge of forensics at the time that they take this course. We don't do a lot of imaging forensics because that's back in digital. We're in the network and we are doing packet capture, packet analysis. We're capturing malware, doing malware analysis, segmenting networks, remediation strategies, all sorts of things. And a network forensic individual has to know what the incident response people are doing because they are going to be an intrinsic part of that response team. So once again, a lot of hands-on, and we suggest that some networking and some digital forensics background exist. It's not going to prevent you from passing the course if you don't know it, but you're going to be much more enriched with what's presented in this class if you do have that background. And we're happy to point people out to resources, really good publications, what have you, in the digital world. So that is the fourth course that we're going to be offering here. As with all the rest, it maps to nice workforce roles because we want people to be able to get jobs after they finish the course. So they would be cyber defense forensic analyst, cybercrime investigator, exploitation analyst, cyber defense incident responder, cyber defense infrastructure support, and threat and warning analyst. Once again, these are the job titles that they're actually hiring for. And this course certification maps directly to those work roles in the nice cybersecurity workforce framework. Those are the 4 courses that we are going to be starting with. Once again, that's a very high-level view. I would encourage anybody before I take any questions that may exist. Our website, phase2advantage.com. There is in the top navigation certification courses. And you'll see online courses, self-study courses, and classroom courses. It doesn't matter which one you go to. If you pick these courses out of the menu and look at the actual course description, under the section you'll see learning objectives, course outline and learning objectives. And they're little blue toggle arrows. And if you click on the blue toggle arrows, it'll further drop down and it'll show you underneath each one of those individual 16 learning objectives the 6 key learning objectives that are going to be associated with each domain. So there will be a total of 96. But instead of trying to put that up in PowerPoint, I thought it would be easier to refer people and let them do their own exploration. So that's the way every single course description is set up. You can drill down on those courses and course descriptions and find out every single thing there is to know about the course. The registration can happen from there. We have our contact information if you have questions. You can call our office directly. We'll always make ourselves available to you, and we'll answer any question that you have prior to thinking about registering for a course. So the website is actually a wealth of information, and it's at your own pace and leisure and available anytime you want it. And like I said, I thought that was a much nicer way of doing it than putting 400 PowerPoint slides together. So those are the 4 classes that we're doing. That's a little bit about Phase 2 Advantage. That's how we structure our classes. This is what drives us. We want people to get real learning, and we want them to get hands-on learning. And we want them to be able to walk out and get jobs with practical experience after they come through the course, or if they're already employed, if they're looking for promotion, lateral transfers, maybe changing jobs, whatever it might be. We want to give them that competitive edge with the hands-on skills that some other certifications may lack because they're not real world or they may be a little bit dated. So that, for all intents and purposes, is the presentation, the 4 courses, the company, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions anybody might have.
Thank you, Michael. So if you have your questions, you're welcome to either turn your microphone on the screen and ask them, or you can type your question in the chat box. So we'll give maybe a minute to see if there are any questions.
I recognize one name on that board, Joseph McCausland. He had contacted me about disaster response. Joseph, do you have any questions about disaster response?
Hi, Michael. How are you doing?
Doing well, sir. Yourself?
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. I just want to say something about your courses. I'm not going to go into the competition out there, but your courses are so rounded. They don't stick with the textual part of it. They get a lot into the lab part of it, and it really gives you, I don't know if the word would be correct, but an experience. You know, you're actually experiencing what you're learning, and I think that's what really sets Phase 2 Advantage apart from the so-called competition out there. But with that, with the disaster recovery relief, I think from the person that really, like myself, that doesn't have any experience in cybersecurity, I would say I'm, a mediocre IT person at that. I think this would be a course where someone like myself could really start out learning, about cybersecurity and what it's all about. And it's so relevant because, any disasters around the world, I'm sure there's, people that are dispatched there immediately, that do this and that bring everything online, the grids, the electricity back, and all this, and that's all involved, I assume, in the disaster recovery release. But I really wanted to thank you. I got a lot out of your webinar, as much as I could understand. But I think there might be people maybe tuned in that are in my situation. Could you maybe tell me a little more about how I can, if I went through your course, and how could I apply that to the real world?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Well, first of all, thanks for the vote of confidence. Second of all, during the entire course, we're providing people with additional assets, resources, real-world applications. And then let us not forget, we are in a professional development environment. I do believe you learn as much from your left and the right as you do from the front of the room. So you not only do you get access to resources that we provide and guidance that we provide and so on and so forth, But when we do the breakout groups, when we put people together, these professionals, it's amazing what gets shared throughout the course of the room, and everybody learns something at that point. I don't think there's an instructor that teaches a class that doesn't learn something from one of the attendees in the class. So there's plenty of opportunity that is actually incorporated into that class, and well, every class, and I do appreciate the question. Thank you, sir.
You're more than welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, all right, Michael. I did not receive any additional questions in the chat box. So if you have any more questions for Michael, as he mentioned, you can give him a call at the number at the bottom right of the screen. That's 912-335-2217. Or you can visit phase2advantage.com for more information about the courses and any specifics, or if you want to review anything. And again, we'd like to thank Michael for giving this presentation today about the upcoming 4 cybersecurity courses. And we'd like to thank you for joining us. All right, you all have a wonderful day.
Have a good day, folks. Have a good day, Janie.
Thank you. Bye-bye.